Will another Latina win the Miss Universe title this year? That's going to be the focus of today's video. Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Jason Cappuccino of Sashes&Scripts. Before we begin with today's video, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notifications bell to be updated for more of our pageant-related content. With the Latina domination in last year's edition of the Miss Universe pageant, we now think that this year would also be the same, and that is thanks to the victory of Andrea Meza of Mexico, who was able to usher in after several years, after four or 5 years of the Miss Universe under the IMG management, to be the first Latina to win under that new ownership. And with that in mind, we now believe that this year would be no different from last year's edition, and that this year, majority of the semi-finalists, majority of probably even the top 10 and the top 5 will be coming from the Latin American girls. Collectively this year, the Latina delegates, the candidates from Latin America, are the ones that I believe to be the strongest in the batch. They are the ones who will be bringing a lot of heat into the competition. They're the ones who are more prepared in the pageant, with a lot of them having not only gorgeous faces, very physically fit bodies, great proportions, strong performances, but they also are the ones that I think who have meatier resumes this year. And with regards to the criticism that Latinas are very focused on the physicality of pageantry, they're more focused on the beauty, the body, the proportions, and the technical aspect of the performances in pageants. There is now a move towards having a more holistic approach when it comes to their preparations for the international stage. And I have seen, after reviewing their bios in the Miss Universe website, I have seen that a lot of them have been improving, and a lot of them have brought about very meaty pageant resumes into the table. And that is one of the things that we will be tackling in today's video. Before we continue, let me just say that I will be posting a link later on in this video on a more comprehensive blog post on each of the 7 girls that we think have a great shot at the Miss Universe title, who are coming from the Latina delegation. But for this video, I am only focusing maybe around 3 or 4 girls who I believe should be given special mention in terms of what they are going to be bringing on into the Miss Universe stage in terms of their pageant resumes. So first on the list, we have Michelle Marie Colon of Puerto Rico. I think that she is one of the best candidates to have come from the Latin American delegates this year. I think that she is also one of the most well-rounded competitors in the pageant, and I also believe that if I were to choose among the candidates this year, she is poised to be the flag bearer of the Latin American delegation for the Miss Universe title. I think that she's a big threat for the title, simply because she has that perfect combination of physical beauty, performance, great stage presence, as well as a very interesting background and a meaty resume. Now let's review her stats. She's 21 years old. She is a model who stands 6 feet tall, and she has been a very successful model at that, having worked for very important fashion designers in Latin America. Aside from that, she is also a student who's taking a double degree in biology and in pre-med, as well as at a young age, she was able to establish her own foundation, which is the Care Empowerment Program. So as a whole, Michelle has that kind of background that speaks of strong and accomplished woman at a very young age. And then we also have Antonia Cristal Figueroa of Chile, who has been absent in the Miss Universe semi-finalists for quite some time now. And I think that with Antonia's background, having been a candidate for the Miss Earth several years back, I think that she brings something into the green agenda of the pageant. having had enough, environmental related charity work in the past. I also think that aside from her, very physical beauty, her very proportioned body, and her very strong, performance on stage, she is also one of the girls that has a very well-rounded background with her experience, having had having had to compete at the MasterChef Chile version. There is a certain level of competitiveness that you see in her. Aside from that, when her country was hit by an earthquake, she helped military efforts to evacuate, to move along aid for the underprivileged part of society. And aside from that, she is also an environmental civil engineering graduate who graduated with honors. So with that in mind, you know that there is something special that she brings into the table when she is going to go for the interviews later on. Marry her educational background with the green agenda of the Miss Universe this year, as well as the experience she had as a Miss Earth candidate, and you can all put together how she is able to give a lot of very meaty answers during the interview, especially on the green agenda, on the environmental related agenda of the Miss Universe pageant later this year. Another girl on our list who most pageant fans easily dismiss because of her very gorgeous, very international face is Nadia Ferreira of Paraguay. And the thing about Nadia is that she is a very accomplished model in her own right. She is, one of those girls who have walked several fashion capitals in the world, from Paris to Milan to New York. Nadia is one of those girls who, with the right and proper, styling, would easily fit into the pageant scene. She has a very feline features, very strong eyes, very sharp jawline and cheekbones, as well as very arresting eyes. And put that in a face altogether, you get a recipe of a very gorgeous woman. And at her age, at her very young age, which is around 21 or 22 years old, a lot of people are expecting that there's nothing much that she can offer in terms of what she can do for the title. And I beg to disagree with that, simply because looking at her, profile, at her Miss Universe profile in the website, she has done a lot of things that a lot of pageant fans do not know. And being independent, having that kind of, independent spirit at a very young age, you know that she is going to be a very professional person when it comes to dealing with contracts, when it comes to dealing with the job that the Miss Universe title entails. And a lot of people do not necessarily understand or not necessarily know that Nadia is supported by the First Lady of Paraguay for having been a member, or rather for having helped her in different social aid programs of the government. And having that kind of exposure, is something that she can bring into the Miss Universe competition later on, and she can talk about a lot of what she has done for the for her country, or for her social advocacy projects in relation to the office of the First Lady. Another thing is that she is an advocate for the reintegration of incarcerated women, and supports the ministry, one of their government ministry, on allowing smooth integration to society. And there is more to this person than what we see. And if we give her a chance to to give us and show us who she really is and what she's all about, then we might find her aligned with what the Miss Universe organization is looking for. And then we have Luiseth Materan, who, everyone says Venezuela is Venezuela, and we've heard that adage for quite some time now. And with Luiseth, a lot of people do not necessarily see that she is a multi-hyphenate. She is an actress, she is a TV host, she serves as a communications director for a firm based in the US, as well as she also has work, spokesperson work related towards rights for people with Down syndrome, HIV and AIDS, gender equality, and even education. So with that being said, you also know that aside from having a very Miss Venezuela face, and a very strong, catwalk, a very strong pasarela, there is also the aspect where she has something to talk about in terms of her background, her, advocacy work. We've seen, her go viral several months back when she went to a village to distribute relief goods, to distribute food and other necessities, and that she was carrying heavy load of bags by herself. So you see in her a very well-rounded competitor that is not only great on the physical side, but also speaks well, and at the same time has a very meaty background, has a very interesting background to bring into the table. So in terms of her, in terms of her chances making into the semifinalists this year, I think she is a sure spot win for the semifinalists, among the semifinalists. And for her to make it to the top 10 or top 5 won't be very surprising because, again, when it comes to the performance aspect of the competition, she is very well versed on that, having had one of the strongest pasarela among the top 5 in the Miss Venezuela 2020 competition. Her being a appointee of the pageant, an appointed candidate for the Miss Universe, does not derail her chances in winning as well, because despite being an appointee, she ticks every box when it comes to what a Miss Venezuela candidate should be here. And of course, there are a lot of other girls that I haven't mentioned in this video. One of them is definitely Valeria Ayos of Colombia and Teresa Santos of Brazil, and you will find a little bit more on these ladies on the blog post that I will link later down in the descriptions below. If there was a continental grouping this year, I think that the Latina delegates will be the ones who will be most underserved, because I believe that they are the strongest group of girls in this year's competition. And with the criticism that Latinas and their national directors have always been focused more on the physicality, on the beauty aspect of pageantry, this year I see that they have learned from their mistakes, and they have learned from their experiences in the past editions of the Miss Universe pageant, especially during the era of the IMG age. I believe that now they have been able to pivot in terms of their candidates, now selecting girls who are not only physically gorgeous, not only who are great on stage, but also have strong and meaty resumes to boot. This year, upon reviewing the Miss Universe website for the candidates' individual profiles, I have seen that collectively the Latinas have brought their A game in terms of not only sending girls who are physically perfect specimens, but also who are candidates who are very involved in their community, who are very academically inclined, who are well-rounded in terms of their pageant preparations. And I mean that they're not only focusing on the intellect, on the interview skills, on the physical side, but they're also focused on their social advocacy projects, on what they are going to be bringing on into the table once that they are crowned Miss Universe. And this year, I think that it might happen that majority of the semi-finalists, majority of the top 10 or even the top 5 will be coming from the Latina delegates. I hope that you've learned something in today's video and that you've enjoyed it. Give it a like and share it to your friends, and let's see each other in the next episode. That's it from me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye, everyone.